Moving on to toilets for drivers, I think it was you who said in a recent BBC report that bus drivers' welfare was top priority. Yeah. But we know that over a quarter of London bus routes don't have adequate toilet provisions. So if that's the case, how can that statement be true?
So I think I don't quite recognise that position around the quarter of routes not having adequate facilities. I think that's specifically around the number of routes which don't have a toilet at both ends. And you could argue that's something that should be there. A lot of those routes, though, have cycle time, so the time between a driver getting back to the end of the route where there is a toilet of around about 2 hours or less, which has been the limit or the threshold at which we have set in terms of our the standard by which point we start looking at putting in a second toilet. So within that, there are some routes where a toilet at both ends would certainly be very helpful and are on our priority list. There are other routes which are much shorter where we wouldn't necessarily prioritise a second toilet. If there is the ability to do it, though, we will continue to look at doing that. Okay.
Would you agree that you've identified 5 routes, so we're not talking about the 175, but 5 routes which were deemed to be high priority? Would you agree they are still high priority?
Yes.
They were deemed to be high priority in 2019, and according to the latest information I have, they still have not been sorted out.
I believe that number is correct, but I can confirm that afterwards.
Is there a reason why they haven't been sorted out, if it's a high priority?
A number of challenges, and there are specific answers or reasons for each one as to where they are. Typically, it is around finding a suitable location near the end of the route where we can install a toilet.
Okay. So, only, according to my data, only 6 bus routes of the 181 known to have serious toilet problems even have the capacity for fixing. Most of the London bus routes with toilet problems remain no changes under the new bus network plan. Do you not think there should be a bigger number of proposed changes?
At the moment, that's where we are. I would like us to do more than that, but we don't have a plan to do that yet. It's not a costed plan, it's not in the budget at the moment, but the aspiration is to improve on what we've got at the moment.
In the proposed changes, Jeff may not know about toilets, but I know he knows a lot about buses and routes. I'm staying with you, Tom. 2 of the changes, bus route 3 and bus route 328, their routes will be changed, and they will change now to be routes without a toilet at one end. Why is that being allowed to happen? Why are we having a backward step?
So it won't be allowed to happen. We've made a commitment that we won't change routes where to reduce that toilet provision in that case there until an alternative is available. So as part of the proposals and as part of our implementation thinking on those proposals, we will need to address that and ensure that there is a toilet at either the new end of the route or at the other end of the route before those changes happen. We've previously committed that we will not make changes to routes. So
you're giving a commitment here today in front of the committee in public that route 3 and route 328 will not change until there's toilet provision?
We've made that commitment previously, I believe, to this forum, but in others as well, that we won't change routes where there isn't a toilet provision at the end of the route.
So I think it was you who said that it is a basic human right to have access to a toilet and to ensure that drivers always have facilities within a reasonable distance. So what criteria does TfL or its bus contractors use to deny that human right to bus drivers on over 25% of the bus route? So what risk assessments have you put in place around a driver not being able to take a toilet break or to having to stop en route with a bus load of passengers to pop off? And
Assembly member, I hate to I love human rights with absolute passion, but we've got 5 minutes left in the meeting and I'm going to curtail my questions quite severely, but I still need to do the wrap-up stuff at the end. Okay. Could I possibly ask you to write to the TfL about some of these additional issues?
Sure. Okay, well, I will, let me just double check. I probably can leave it there. Okay, I will leave that bit there, and but perhaps you could write to me with the risk assessments that you've done in relation to having routes without toilets on. And